Today we're going to be checking out a pair of Paradigm subwoofers. These are the brand new XR13s. So shout out to Paradigm for sending this over for me to review. Thank you guys. Inside the packaging we get the Anthem Room Correction kit because this subwoofer is room correctable with its own software. Inside this packaging we get the very nice, high quality, calibrated Anthem R calibration mic. This is nice, it's like aluminum. This is also USB-C compatible, so if you have any USB-C cables lying around, it'll fit right in there. We get some USB cables. It's a USB-C to USB-A, and then we get another one here. This will plug into the back of the subwoofer, then over to your PC or Mac. And then the last box here, we get a very handy tripod mount for the microphone. And then here we get the spiked foot kit. So we get 4 of these guys. All right, so let's unveil this thing. And look at that. Ooh, this is a really nice glossy black paint job. This not only comes in this gloss black color, but it does come in different colors as well. It comes in like a couple of different wood finishes. But up front, we have 2-inch thick MDF front baffle. So this has got some nice rigidity up front here. Not only that, but this has a nice brushed aluminum faceplate on the front as well. And it's got these nice glossy, kind of shiny chamfered edges. But here on the front, you will find the 13-inch driver. This does have a double stack motor on it, so it's like almost as deep as the actual subwoofer itself from front to back. So that's pretty impressive. Obviously, I'm not gonna pull it out of the enclosure, but it's impressive. And this does have a frequency response of 17 hertz to 140 hertz, which I'm sure it'll go down a little bit lower once you get it in your room. But design-wise, you can see that it does kind of like taper in the front. It gets a little bit wider towards the middle and tapers in the back as well. So that's a nice little design. Now in the back of the subwoofer, there is a capacitive touchscreen here. So this will let you adjust the volume. So you just slide your finger across the top, and then that's how you can adjust the volume. Now size-wise, this is a fairly small subwoofer. We're talking about 17 inches wide by about 18.5 inches in height, and it is 19 inches deep. So not a very big subwoofer. If you want to cover up the driver, this does come with a magnetic grill. So this is made out of plastic. The little magnetic points are here on the corners, and it just attaches right to the front like that. Around back, you can see that this is powered by a Class D 2200 watt RMS amplifier with peaks of up to 4400 watts. There are connections for your speaker level inputs. There is an XLR balanced input, dedicated unbalanced LFE input, as well as left and right unbalanced RCA inputs. There is your power on off auto switch. There's a trigger. And then also there is the little micro USB port, which would connect up to your laptop to run the Anthem Room Correction. Now this subwoofer does come with its own room correction. You'll have to download the program for either Mac or PC. There's even a mobile version for iOS and Android, but for this video, I'm using the PC version. Once you get the program installed, you're going to go ahead and launch ARC, which should bring up the list of subwoofers you've got connected. You can see that I've got the XR13 right in the list, and you can see that in the number of positions to measure, you have anywhere from 5 to 10 positions. Click on continue once again in the lower right corner and then select your microphone. Once you run through all 5 of your measurements, you're going to be taken to the review summary and upload page. From here, you can upload to your device, go to the viewer, or you can create a PDF. What we're going to do is go over to the Cure viewer, and this will show you all of the measurements. So first option here is show all measurement points. So this is for all 5 spots. Next one is the show combined measurements. So this is all 5 spots averaged into 1, and then for the next couple here, show combined measurements with level adjustment, show combined measurement with level adjustment and base management. Those all look exactly the same. And then here we can click on show the target curve, and then this is the corrected curve of what it should look like once everything's corrected, and then show arc adjustment equalization curve. So after that, we can click on done. If you want to go back to step 3 in the upper portion here, you can click on the adjust targets tab, and you can make some manual adjustments here if you want. You can adjust the room gain. You've got deep bass boost, tilt level, the room gain center frequency, deep bass boost center frequency, tilt start frequency, and then on the last section here, we got the high frequency extension from 120 Hertz all the way up to 300 Hertz. Next option is frequency extension slope. We got flat all the way up to 16th. Then the next two options are the low frequency extension and then the minimum correction frequency, which is 15 Hertz up to 135 Hertz. Once you are done with that, we're going to just take whatever changes that you may have made and upload it to the subwoofer by clicking on upload to your device. Once it's complete, which takes like 2 seconds, it'll say upload complete. There's also an app that's available for both iOS and Android. We are going to check out the iOS version on the iPad. We've got 3 different presets. We've got movie mode, music, and then night. Right now I've got this hooked up to my 2 channels, so I'm going to select on music. Right here in the center, you've got your volume control from 0 up to 100%. If you want, you can run a sweep, which is pretty cool. If you want to pause the sweep, you can pause it at any frequency from 20 Hertz up to 120 Hertz. So if you want to find some rattles in your room, or if you want to use Room EQ Wizard to figure out a good crossover point for this in your speakers, you can also do something like that. You could turn ARC on and off from here. On the bottom, let's hop into the settings. We've got your volume settings, same as we had on the first page. We've got the low pass, we can bypass it. We can go select 3rd order or then 4th order. You can invert the phase and adjust it from 0 to 180 degrees. We've got your listening modes here, which we looked at a little bit earlier. Deep bass level, we've got anywhere from -10 dB up to a +10 dB. This is room correction. Again, you can turn that on and off. We've got a passcode. You can rename the subwoofers. You can reset all your settings. And then here on the bottom is the information on your subwoofer that is selected. I've got both subwoofers in my home theater. One in the front left corner and the other one is going to be placed in the opposite right rear corner. They'll be paired up with my Sendo speakers and hooked up with a Trilinear altitude processor. Demos are going to be played back with a Kaleidoscape. You guys know that Fury is one of my go-to demos because I like hearing how rapid fire and percussive those gunshots are. I've heard some larger subs, like some 18s and 21s, that kind of lumber through this demo and just providing, big boom rather than speed and control. I want it to feel like there's a jackhammer pummeling my room, and these XR13s are right there with what I think is one of the best small subwoofers out there, the Perlisten R210. The Paradigm is smaller and just as snappy and as articulate as the Perlisten. The driver has no hint of slop or overhang and doesn't linger a tiny bit.
He needs our help. There must be some way to disorient Godzilla. Depth charges.
The beginning of this demo is just like the Fury demo. It's quick, successive pops that cut right through your chest. It's crazy tactile without any bloat. And when the explosion happens at the end, these little 13s pressurize my room as if they were a pair of much bigger subs. I think it's been impressive that we've been getting these smaller enclosures with smaller drivers that can belt out huge low-end response and sound extremely clean while doing it. I'm sure the double-stacked motor structure is the real hero with the amount of excursion this needs to dig this deep. I also felt the way that it pressurized my room made for the overall feel, whether it was during an explosion or some tense moment in a drama. The bass felt heavy, as if you could just reach out and grab a handful. This is the type of response I usually get when I hear 15s or 18s in a much larger box or larger enclosure. In Godzilla vs. Kong, it's full of these bass heavy scenes, and the 13s just blew me away with how hefty they can sound. And wrapping this up, we're gonna go to Edge of Tomorrow. I want to say that this is the perfect subwoofer for speedy transients, body spanking tactility, and low-end extension that hits the infrasonic realm, but it does come up short for infrasonics. Right at the tail end of this demo, with larger subwoofers, you'll no longer hear the demo, you'll feel the air and the walls vibrate around you. Both of these 13s together can't produce that part of the demo, but honestly, most subwoofers can, even the bigger ones. On the bright side, I never once heard the driver even hint at giving out, so its DSP is doing a great job and saving it from self-destruction. I mean, it still shook everything that's slightly loose in my room, so I'm not saying that it can't belt out violent amounts of output. It just doesn't hit single digits. Now, I did take a few measurements at my main seat. Keep in mind that these are the responses I got in my room and will most likely be very different for yours. I did use the music mode for these measurements since it's supposed to be the most balanced. The first one is the sub in the front left corner. You can see I get a huge peak around 20 Hz with a null at 59, and I'm getting extension down to 10 Hz. The next one is the subwoofer in the back right corner. I'm still getting that huge peak at 20 Hz and extension is still down to 10 Hz. Together they've got rid of that nasty 60 Hz dip while still digging down to 10 Hz with massive output at 20 Hz. Now with a little arc room correction, I was able to get a much smoother response. Now I'll be honest, it might not be accurate, but it did sound pretty sick with that 20 Hz peak. Now I did take a few measurements using the movie mode and then also the late night mode. And if you look at the measurements here, they kind of all look pretty much the same. At the time of this video, the XR13 is selling for $5,000 each. This is a subwoofer that excels for both movies and music equally. I know that you can get behemoth subwoofers with dual 18s or 24s for about the same price as this one, and even cheaper if you're a handyman, but you know, it's not always about the biggest bang for your buck or the most SPL for your buck. This falls in the I want the most sound quality for my buck. Sure, having subs that can hit 140 dB and vibrate the crap out of my ass is impressive as hell, but there's nothing like a sub that can dig deep and still finesse its way with speed and articulation that some of those big boxes just can't touch. It's got a convenient app, it's got a room correction, and it barely takes up any space in your room. It truly is impressive, the quality of bass and the output for such a small enclosure. I think that this might just be my new favorite small subwoofer. What is your favorite small subwoofer? Well, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and share this video if you found it useful, and if you'd like to support the channel even further, you can get exclusive perks on Audioholics' Patreon page. Subscribe if you haven't already, and remember, keep listening.